Do you struggle with wrist pain when you breastfeed your baby? Does your wrist hurt when you try to lift your baby up? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can fix your wrist pain so that you'll be able to get back to breastfeeding your baby and carrying your baby more comfortably. So stay tuned. When the load on the muscles and the ligaments that cross the wrist exceeds the capacity of those tissues to tolerate the load, scar tissue forms and pain results. But you don't have to suffer. There is a way to reduce your wrist pain. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 ergonomic changes you can make and 3 self-care therapies you can do to help reduce your wrist pain. And then I'll tell you what you can do further to fully get rid of the problem. Okay, so the first ergonomic change you can make, gosh, if only I had a baby that I could show you this. Hey, look at that. Okay, so when you're holding your baby, a lot of times we're kind of supporting the head here. And obviously this is a little bit of a lighter baby, so just bear with me. But the idea is that our wrist takes a lot of the load. And oftentimes we'll kind of curl the wrist around, whether it's around the head or around the body to fully, contain the weight of the baby. And it's a lot of stress through the wrist. So you have a few options. Number 1 is supporting right above the wrist. So if you support below your wrist, you actually increase load on the wrist joint. If you can support above the wrist, that can help you distribute the load and take some of the pressure off of this area. The next thing you can do is make a fist, okay? So instead of having your wrist wrapped around the baby, you're gonna have a fist. It keeps your wrist in a neutral position, and that can also help support the load of the baby. Make it even better, you can support above the wrist once you have a fist here. And if you really want a bonus, you make 2 fists, and you carry your baby like this. All right, it looks kind of ridiculous, but if you're at home and you're swaying and rocking your baby, nobody's going to be seeing you make these fists, and it really does take a lot of stress off your wrists. So the third thing applies specifically to breastfeeding. So once you have your baby in position, you get the boob sandwich going so that they're latched on correctly. And once they have the latch going, see if you can try to position a pillow under you so you can release that wrist and take some of the stress off in that case. So just to show you real quickly how some of these could apply, if you're laying your baby down for a diaper change, instead of supporting below the wrist here with the open hand, try making a fist, slide your hand under the baby's head and neck, and then you can position down from there. So the first exercise we're going to be doing is to work into the tight extensor muscles here. So you take 2 balls and you put them together in a sock, or you can use the yoga tune-up balls that already come with the net, place it down on a hard surface, and then just turn your arm so that they're on top of the balls here. And you can start rolling like this. If you want more pressure, you're going to apply more pressure with your hand. That should be plenty of pressure for most folks. And you can stop on any point that feels like it's really tight and kind of give that area a little bit of extra attention. Or you can just roll back and forth. You can go all the way from the outer elbow bone here to the wrist. Just don't put a lot of pressure right on the wrist. The bulk of the muscles is right through here. So the second exercise we're going to do is similar to the first, except for we're going to be working on the flexor side of the wrist. So the flexor muscles are activated anytime we flex the wrist, so they attach here at the medial elbow. So this is going to be the main area that you want to focus on. So you place that down in between the 2 balls. You could use one, but it's going to slip around. This kind of gives you a little bit of a place to actually place your arm. So you just put your arm down and start rolling here. And again, you can apply more pressure. And you can stop on any spot that feels like it's beneficial, or you can just kind of roll, get all the tension out that way. So for the third exercise, you're going to need 1 rubber band. Ideally, if you have the kind that comes around broccoli or asparagus, that would be a little better. They're a little bit thicker, but we'll just show with this. This may not be enough resistance for you, just to keep that in mind. So you're going to want to wrap it around right at about the first joint on the fingers and the first joint of the thumb. And then you're going to extend your fingers away and release. So you're doing the work on the extending out and you're releasing. So it kind of looks like this. So it's not a claw. It's not like a claw like this. It's more just trying to open everything up away from each other. And what this does is fires up the extensor muscles here. Oftentimes what happens is that we spend a lot of time overworking these muscles. So these are kind of like our power muscles. We're always lifting things, we're typing with them, but we don't actually work the extensor side, and there can be a muscle imbalance that develops as a result of that. So you just want to do it to fatigue. You can even do this when you're talking on the telephone or doing any other activities where you have a hand free. Just do it to fatigue. It usually takes about 30 seconds to a minute depending on your body. and then just relax and then come back to it a couple other times throughout the day. So I've shown you some great techniques you can do at home to help reduce your wrist pain. But what do you do if you've tried these techniques and the pain remains? Well, oftentimes the tightness in the scar tissue has built up to a point so that even exercises and self-massage aren't strong enough to take care of it. Additionally, there can be joint fixations in the elbow or in the shoulder that are adding to the problem. So if something's not moving properly, the body is really great at getting us from point A to point B. And if something's not moving, something else is going to move even more to be able to compensate. And so that extra movement, it builds up friction and pressure and tension, which just adds to the repetitive nature of our injury. What you need to do to fix your wrist pain is address the scar tissue. And what I do is I identify the exact muscles that are contributing to the problem, and then I apply active release techniques, which is a manual therapy technique, to actually break up the scar tissue in the area. If you're suffering from wrist pain with baby holding and breastfeeding, and you're local to the San Francisco Bay Area, just click the link below. We'll get you set up for your free injury analysis session. And in that session, we'll figure out if and how I can help you, and we'll figure out the first steps towards getting you back to being able to breastfeed and hold your baby more comfortably without wrist pain. Thanks for watching. I say boob sandwich on YouTube.